So in today's video, we're going to be drafting a sleeveless blazer jacket. So welcome once again to my YouTube channel, and if it's your first time, you're welcome. Kindly hit the subscribe button and let's get started. For this, I'll be using my brown pattern paper, as you can see, and the very first thing I'm going to be taking is my starting line, okay, which is at the very top of my pattern paper. And from that, I'll be taking the measurement for my bust line, which is 10 inches from the starting line, okay. So I usually add 1 inch to it because of the shoulder slope, okay. So that indication there is the bust line measurement, and next to that will be my waistline measurement of 16 inches from the starting line. So from that as well, I went further to take my hip line measurement and then the full length of my blazer jacket, okay. So I'll be drafting all this out using my straight rule. So from my bust line measurement, I'll be going up by 2 inches so as to get my chest line measurement, okay. So I'll also be drafting out using my straight rule. I went further to label all my lines from the starting line to the full length of my jacket, okay. So on the starting line, I'll be taking the measurements for my shoulder to shoulder, which is 16 inches divided by 2 gave me 8, and then I'll be connecting it to my chest line, which is what I'm doing right now. So next to that, I'll be taking the measurement for my neckline, okay. So it's a simple round neckline pattern. So I forgot to tell us that I'm actually drafting the back of our blazer jacket, okay. So the measurement for the neckline is 3 inches into 2 inches, okay. So I'll go ahead now and take my simple shoulder slope of 1 inch, which is what I'm doing right now. So after that, I went ahead to take the measurement for my bust circumference, which was 40 inches divided by 4. It gave me 10. And then I added an extra 1.5 inch seam allowance to it. Using my curve, I'll just go ahead and draft my simple armhole measurement, okay. So on our chest line, I'll be taking my dart, which is 4.5 inches, and I'll also be repeating it on all lines. And then I'll be connecting all my darts using my ruler. So on my chest line, I'm going to be taking the measurement of 0.5 inch on both sides of my dart, as you can see, and then I'll be connecting it to my chest line, as you see me do with my straight rule. I'll be repeating the same process from the dart area on my waistline, connecting it all the way to the full length of my blazer jacket, okay. And then also I'll be removing half of an inch from the center back of our blazer jacket, which is what I'm indicating with my finger there. So that indication is on the waistline, and then I'll be connecting it to the hip line, which is what I'm doing now. And then also I'll be taking it all the way to the chest line as well. So I'll be taking my waistline measurement, which is 32 inches divided by 4. And then I would also be adding an extra 1.5 inch seam allowance to it. Then also the 1 inch dart that was removed would also be added after taking our seam allowance as well. So on my hip line measurement is 42 inches divided by 4 to give me 10.5, and then I also added 1.5 inch seam allowance to it. Then also on the full length of my jacket, I also added 1 inch to the measurement on my hip line measurement, okay. So I'll be connecting all those points starting from my chest line measurement, which is what I'm doing now, as you can see. So at this point, we are done taking measurement for the back of our blazer jacket, okay. So I went ahead to label it. Another thing that you could also do, which is optional, is taking the middle of your shoulder measurement and connecting it to your dart. That is if you want to open it up. So you could simply cut out your dart without opening from the shoulder. So to do that, you simply take the middle of your shoulder measurement and connect it using your straight rule to your dart. So I went ahead to trim out my pattern. So I labeled one my center back and the other my side back. Okay, so these are the piece for the back pattern. So next we're going to be drafting the front pattern, and for this you can see me indicating that we're going to be leaving out some space on the top and also on the side. So on the front side I'm leaving out about 4 inches allowance, while on the top I left out about 6 inches allowance, and then I'm connecting it using my straight row. So these sides are where we'll be leaving out, and then we'll be taking our collar and our lapel from both ends. So from the starting line at the very top, I'm simply going to be taking all the basic measurements which I took for the back, which is the bust line, the waistline, the hip line, and the full length of my sleeve. And then I'm simply connecting them using my straight row. And then also from the bust line, I'm taking my chest line measurement, which is 2 inches above the bust line. Okay, so I also went ahead to connect it using my straight row. So for the neckline pattern of the front of our blazer jacket, it is a measurement of 3 inches into 3 inches. And then also I'm taking my shoulder to shoulder measurement of 8 inches, and I'm simply connecting it to my chest line measurement. And from that you can see me removing my 1 inch shoulder slope, as I also did for the back pattern. Okay, so next I'll be taking my bust circumference measurement on my chest line, which is 10 inches, and then also I'll be adding an extra 1.5 inch seam allowance to it. So to draft my armhole depth, I would be getting the midpoint of my armhole starting from the shoulder slope. Okay, so I'll simply be making an indication there, and thereafter I went in by half of an inch so as to get the depth of my armhole, and I'll simply be connecting all points together using my curve rule. Next, we are simply going to be taking our dart measurement for this front part of our blazer jacket. Okay, but please take note that there is a little adjustment on our dart. So you can see me taking a 1 inch measurement below our bust line. Okay, so that indication there, I'm simply drawing a line across it. So our dart measurement is going to be taken on that line, and then on the waistline, the hip line, and then the line indicating the full length of our blazer jacket. Okay, so this is different from the dart pattern for the back of our blazer jacket. Please take note of that. And then I simply went ahead to connect all my darts using my straight row. Okay, so on my waistline I'm taking measurements of 0.5 inch on both sides of my darts. Okay, so this I did also for the back of our blazer jacket, and I'll simply be connecting it to the points on the line above the waistline. Okay, so I'll be repeating it on both sides of my darts, and also I'll be connecting it all the way down as well. Next, I'll be taking my waist measurement on my waistline, which is 32 inches divided by 4. It gave me 8, and then I added an extra 1.5 inch seam allowance to it. Please take notes that the dart which was removed would also be added. Okay, and then also I took the same measurement which I took for the back pattern on my hip measurement, and also for the full length of my jacket. Then I went ahead to connect all the points together, starting from my chest line to my waist, and then to my hip, and also the full length of my jacket. Having drafted the bodice for the front of our blazer jacket, we'll go ahead to draft our lapel. So I'll be going out by 1 inch on my waistline, and then I'll be repeating it on all the points, the bust line, the chest line, the hip line, and the full length of the sleeve. Okay, so it's optional. You could go out by 1 inch starting from the neck point. Okay, so I'll be connecting all those points together using my ruler. So this allowance will be serving as our button area and then also our lapel. So please take note that our lapel usually ends on the waistline, which is where I indicated with a dot there. So what I'll be doing from the waistline, you can see me connecting to the neckline using my straight rule. So this will serve as our lapel. Okay, so it depends on how wide you want your lapel to be. You could add 1 inch or 2. So I added an extra 1.5 inch to it, and then I'll simply be drawing a line to connect it to the other point there. And then also I took it all the way to the point on the waistline. So this is our lapel area. Okay, so this is the basic measurement for taking our lapel. So to draft our neck area, which is our collar, I'll be going up by 3.5 inches, which is the basic measurement. You could make yours 4 inches, it's fine. Okay, so please ensure that your ruler or your tape is not straight. It's usually a bit slant. Okay, so I would go ahead now and connect that point using my ruler. So that will be the length of our collar, and then I went further to ensure it is properly slant. I went backwards by 1/2 inch. Okay, so we would not be needing the initial measurement. So that measurement now, I'll go further to take another 3.5 inch at the top, which is what I'm doing now. So please ensure also that it is slant and not straight as well. And that measurement I'll be connecting using my straight rule. It's a simple measurement. Okay, so what I'll be doing around my lapel area is I'm going up by 1/2 inch where I'm indicating with my finger, and I'll be using my ruler to connect it into the neckline. Okay, so the last and final thing I would also be doing there is to use my curve rule to connect both ends from the top of my collar to the points around the lapel area. Okay, so this is the basic drafting of a pattern for a blazer jacket. So I went ahead to cut it out, and this is what we're going to be using to cut on our actual fabric. So we'll be ending our video here today. I'll be seeing you on the next one where we'll be joining our fabric together. Until then, bye.